morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everyone had a great weekend. As I put on my chapstick. Oh, wow. This chapstick is hard. It's like 50 degrees right now, so... My coconut oil was like a rock this morning. Anyway. So today, I am talking about how to live a happy life without compromise, and this comes from a subscriber who wanted me to talk about this. So it looks like I'm getting into a habit of making how-to videos. After I said I don't like doing my how-to videos, and it's not that. It's just I should say this. It comes from a sense of control. So, people want to know how to do things, and I'm going to talk about this today in this video. People want to do things, but they want to do things to achieve a goal. But the reason why that oftentimes fails, or oftentimes fail, is because there isn't an understanding of why they're doing what they're doing. So that's why I usually don't tell people how to achieve things. I'll explain why things are happening, so that they can figure it out on their own. Because if they figure it out on their own, then they have a very clear understanding versus someone telling them how to do something. So, you can have a job and they tell you do this, and you have your task, but you don't understand why you're doing it.
GPS signal lost.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, wow, lots of traffic. Well, I did leave late, so try to get everything ready. It's our boss's birthday, so I had to get all kinds of stuff together, which was outside of my normal routine. But anyway, I did jot down some notes because I was thinking about some things and I wanted to make sure that I put it in the video. So, how to have a happy life. I smell rubber. How to have a happy life. Wow. First of all, one has to understand that happiness is not defined by us. It has already been defined by the Creator. And I've said this many times before. The Creator has already established what truth is. So the Creator has already established what the truth of happiness is. The Creator has already established what the truth of love is. That isn't something that we can create. But what we can do is fall into it. We can be in alignment with that energy, with the truth that God has already set forth for us to be in alignment with. That is the greatest understanding that you could possibly have in order to move in a positive direction. Because if you don't have this as your foundation, if you don't have this as the foundation that you build everything else upon, then it's not going to be stable. It's not going to sustain that which you build. And understand, we can build a lot of things, people. Like, we are creators, we are manifestors. That's what we do. And the reason why that's what we do is because that's why we were put here. We were put here to create and have the experience of experiencing our creation. Like, what do you think? What do you think, or why do you think God created all of this? To experience His creation. He created souls and everything for the souls to create, and all the possibilities for the soul to create in any direction that we choose. That is amazing when you think about that, because when you look at man creates limitations for the human being to live within, whereas the Creator has created no boundaries whatsoever and allows you to create as far as you would like in either direction, whether it's loving or unloving. Like, that is a freedom that we have. That is true freedom. That is true love, to allow that freedom. So anytime we create something that confines someone or restricts someone into a box or anything, any kind of any restriction, or that involves any restriction whatsoever, it's not loving. There is an aspect that is missing, or there's a component of love missing from that creation. And so we have to understand this as the foundation, understand what freedom is, understand what love is, but understand it from the Creator's perspective. It has to be that way in order for happiness to even be had. Not just had, but sustained. Remember, it's about sustaining happiness. We're able to create pleasures and intermittent happiness throughout our lives. Of course, however old you are, you've had your life experience for that long, and throughout your course of existence, you have created moments where you're extremely happy. You have created moments where you're extremely joyful, but they're only moments. And this is why having or creating those things on the foundation of truth, on the foundation of love from the Creator's perspective is so important. It's crucial to sustaining your happiness and your joy. It's about sustaining. It's not about just having the experience. This is the difference between, and I meant to say this in the last video, the one I did Saturday. We look for quick fixes. These are the instant gratifications, but these instant gratifications aren't something that the Creator had in mind. The Creator had long-term, sustained happiness, sustained joy. These intermittent, I just said it, Zachary Bradley. These quick fixes, these instant gratifications. These quick fixes are something that we create. And the only reason why is because that's the extent of the soul's creation of joy and happiness. It's the extent of it. We can't have it long term because the soul cannot sustain that long term. There's so many degradations, so many pains, so many traumatic emotional injuries that we have within our soul that just come and take it away. We can create it, but we can't sustain it. And so if you want a happy life, you have to be able to get into a place where it's sustainable. You have to be able to sustain it. And so that means you have to look at life. You have to not just look at life, but you have to understand life, and you have to live life. It's not just about knowing, it's about understanding. And you hear me say understanding all the time, almost in every video. I say something about understanding. Because it's not enough to know it. You have to understand it. It's not enough to know something, you must understand it. And the thing is, when you understand it, there is a feeling attached to it. There is a feeling attached to it. When there's something that you don't understand, even when you look at a child playing with a toy that they've never played with before, and they're trying to figure it out, you can look at them and see that they're really working intently on trying to accomplish something. And maybe they'll get it right once, but they can't reproduce it, and they continue again and continue again, and then they get it in there, and then they continue and continue again to try to do it. And what happens is, each time they attempt, the intervals of completion shorten, meaning they achieve the task more rapidly than previously. It doesn't take as many attempts in order to complete the task, in order to achieve something. And when they understand it, when they have it on a soul level, they're very excited about their completion. They're very there's a feeling of accomplishment, but there's a feeling in there. There's being proud of yourself. Like, yes, I did it. There's a happiness, there's a joy, there's a pleasure involved. Those are feelings. And it's not just knowing how to do something. It's understanding it. And when you have an understanding on a soul level, that is what it's all about. That is when you have the feeling, that's when you experience the reason why you're here. I should say that. That is when you experience the reason why you're here. This is, so anyway, and here's the thing. When we attempt to do something, I guess in order to have, I know, in order to have or to experience a happy life, you have to become who you are. your beingness must be solidified. When you're taking action, so most people in order to achieve happiness, what they call happiness. Ooh, Lord. Let me get my sunglasses. What most people do is they try to do things in order to become who they are. They try to do things that tell themselves that they are this. They do things in order to, I guess, how would I word that? Okay, so, yeah. So they do things in order to become, rather than becoming and doing things. And the difference between those two is is being, I guess, being confident in you are, knowing who you are. There's a difference in intent. There's a difference in intent. So some people do things in order to accomplish things so that they can dictate who they are, tell themselves that they are this because they do that. And then there are those who become who they are and then do things. And the difference is power. The difference is power. The difference is force and power. Most people use their mind to force things into place so that they can not identify but create who they are. But the thing is, there isn't anything outside of you that can define who you are. You must define who you are first. We do things to define ourselves. That's the word that was eluding me. We do things to define ourselves. But if you notice, there's people who accomplish many things, many tasks, but they are not defined. They don't know who they are. And so they're on this constant hamster wheel of action, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. There are a lot of accomplished people who are empty. There are a lot of accomplished people, they have amassed great wealth, they have achieved great success, but they still don't know who they are. And the thing is, they have to work hard for it. Just look at the average salesman. They have to go out, and for some it looks easy, but understand, people who live from the mind and force things are used to it, even though it's stressful. Have you seen a salesperson? Stressed out to the max. Sometimes we don't see it, but if you know any personally, then you know the stress, you know the worry that's involved in their life. It is moving around, it is swirling around within their being. But someone who is defined already won't have to force anything because they have the power. Understand, love is power. Living from the soul is power. That's where our power comes from, our soul. You don't have to force anything. When you don't have love, you have to use your mind to make things happen. You have to use your willpower and force it into place. When you have power, the universe is responding to you, and it's whatever it is that you desire comes to you effortlessly. I'm not saying you don't have to work. I'm saying your participation is different. Your participation is different. Meaning your participation and your life experience is different. Those who live from the mind, who only know, have to force things into place in order to experience that which they desire to experience. But it doesn't come easily. It comes at a cost. It comes at the cost of compromise. So that was that was the actual question, is how to live a happy life without compromise. Well, I'll just say this. Anytime you're not living from your soul, anytime you're not manifesting from your soul, anytime you're having to work at it, you're having to force it into place, you are compromising. You have already compromised who you are and your intent in being here. You have compromised all of that. Every day, you compromise yourself when you don't use your power. Every day, you compromise your happiness, you compromise your integrity, you would compromise love, and you compromise truth every time you use something else, you use something else outside of you, other than truth, meaning other people's understanding, other people's idea of things, seeking other people's approval. All of these different things is what compromises you. When you look for someone to say, or when you look for someone to acknowledge your work, when you look at someone to compliment you, when you do things in order to be complimented, you are compromising your happiness. Because your happiness, or I should say the pleasure that you're going to receive from the compliment, is not only short-lived, but it's dependent upon whether or not you get it. This is the difference. When you have love within your soul, when you have self-love, when you know who you are, when you're solid in who you are, you don't depend on anybody outside of yourself because you already have it. The other day, or in Saturday's video, I think I said, when I wake up and, I get out of the shower, I smile at myself. Every time I smile at myself. I greet myself in that manner. That's what I do. It's so important to compliment yourself. It's so important to acknowledge who you are, the beauty that you have. Understand, you may not look like Kim Kardashian, I think that's her name, or some other dude out there, who is handsome and attractive from the society standpoint. You may not have those features, but you may have other features that are beautiful. The thing is, whatever features you have, those are your features. And because you're just a beautiful being, and the thing is, most people focus on the physical aspect of it. And it's important that you do acknowledge the physical aspect of who you are. And understand if you're not happy with something, then that's something that you need to work on. Not work on it, fix it like going plastic surgery, but accepting who you are and desire a different being. Because like I said, your looks change. But your looks change based on your soul condition, people. Your looks change. When someone is sad and depressed, they look horrible. Horrible. But when they're feeling good, they're active, they're happy, there's a brightness that turns into this, that manifests into this physicality. And you can see it like, wow, you look great today. You look vibrant, you look alive, you look amazing. And it's not something that you have to go get plastic surgery for. It's something that just happens. That's what love does. That's what love of life does. It enhances the life. When I said, in Saturday's video, I was talking about abundance. You have to have abundance in your soul. You have to have abundance in self-love, in self-image. It must be there. Because if you don't, you're going to lack it. And it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. Like, you can take Kim Kardashian as an example. She's very pretty in the physical sense, but there's something missing. There's something missing. Look at her pictures. Some of you won't be able to see it. Some of you will be able to see it. But she's not a happy person. There's not a lot of love in her being. There's not a lot of self-love in her being. But what she does is she uses the money. She uses the money to create the exterior that you see. But the soul is not in alignment with what she's trying to project. And it's very clear. The soul does not lie. It cannot lie. It is always truthful. That's how God designed it. God has designed your soul to know when there's something wrong and when there's something right. When there's love and when there's a lack of it. And you can look at anybody and tell if someone's unhappy or not. You can look at someone and tell them when they're in a slump. So, it's not about being happy. Isn't about doing things. It's not the actions. Most people look for the actions to define themselves. Some people will go get 4 or 5 degrees, thinking that that's going to define who they are, but it never does. It can't. It won't. It's not possible. You cannot take actions in order to define who you are. You must define who you are first. You must define who you are first. All the other things come afterwards. All the other things, and the thing is, when you take action, they're just that, actions. And yes, other people can look at it and say, hey, wow, you're a doctor, you have a master's in this, you're whatever. Some people, even when people find out I'm a hypnotist, are like, oh my gosh, you're so, wow, that's amazing that you can do that. And they try to define who I am by those things. But I'm not defined by those things. I'm not defined by being a hypnotist, nor am I defined by being an ordained minister. And most people don't even know that. But I am. But that doesn't define who I am. That's not who makes me me. I make me me. I decide who I am. The love that I want to achieve defines who I am. I'm the one who says, you know what, I want to be more loving, because that's my goal. I want to be more loving. So I don't say, okay, well, I want to be a more educated person. I don't do that. I just say, hey, I want to be a more loving person. I want to have more understanding. And it's the intent behind that allows me to learn the things that I learn. Some people are amazed that I am able to, I guess, look at things the way that I do, absorb information the way that I absorb it, turn around and be able to put it back out there. I can repackage something if I hear it a certain way. I can hear something, hear the flaws in it, remove the flaws, and just give you the truth. For some, that's very difficult, and some people are like, oh my gosh. But it's only because I want to become more loving. I want to become a better person. I want to be a more truthful person. That's my goal. Who I want to be defined by is me. I want to be defined by me. I can't allow anybody else to say, if you do this, then, you'll be recognized as that. I can't do that. I told you, that I'm being recognized for something, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with that. And it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Then it wasn't happening. And then there's a possibility that was going to happen, but it's happening in a different way. It's just the way that it is. But some people would be heartbroken if someone said you were going to receive an award and then you weren't going to receive an award. Some people would be truly devastated by that, because they would take it as that is who they are. They are defined by the value of the award. Or I should say, their value is defined by the award. And this is what I'm saying. They're excited when they said they're going to receive it, but then they're devastated when it's taken away. This is my point. You don't want to lean on anybody's compliment. You don't want to rely on anybody's compliment. This is part of being happy. Part of being happy with yourself. It's not about anything outside of you. You have to be happy with who you are. And if you're not happy with who you are, if you're not satisfied with who you are, then that means you need to define what that is and become that. If you want to be a happy person, but yet you have a lot of anger issues or you have a lot of sadness, those are the things that you need to release. But you have to define what you want to be before you can achieve it. You must know this must be part of the process. You have to be in on it. You have to be in on the design. You have to be the architect, and you have to be the builder. So you have to be the architect, you have to be the construction worker, you have to be the electrician, you have to be the roofer, you have to be everything. You have to be the landscaper. You have to be everything. You are, it's like a house, and it's like a property, and the garden, everything. You have to be in on it. You have to define whether or not you want, sunflowers in your front yard, or you want, ground cover. What do you want? You want grass? Tell me what you want. You want succulents? What do you want? What do you want to look like? What do you want to be defined by? What's in your house? What are you gonna put in it? You're beautifying everything. You're taking care of the physical aspect of who you are, but what are you gonna put inside of your house? Are you gonna have things of love, integrity? Are you gonna have things that are detrimental to your health? What are you going to have in there? You have to ask yourself that. You have to ask yourself, what do I want? Define what you want, define who you want to be, define who you are. That's the only way. You can't let anybody else do it. And if anybody else is trying to do it, they're on the wrong path. And that should let you know right away. You shouldn't listen to them anyway. Anyone who tells you how you should be, oh no. If anyone tells you how you should be, that means they can't even define for themselves because they don't understand the process. They're still under the illusion that they are defined by other people, which is why they're trying to define who you are. You've heard me say in my videos many times, you do what you want to do. Don't do it because I said do it. Do it because you desire it. Do it because this is your will to be done. I know I mentioned a lot of things about the Creator and the universe and being in alignment with truth and that which the Creator has defined as truth and love. You don't have to do that. God gave you the free will part. People have been doing that just fine. People have been doing that just fine. So do what you want. Define who you want to be. And the thing is, most people have allowed others to define who they are, even especially as children. Your parents have defined who you are. Some parents are neglectful. Some parents are mean. Some parents have put a lot of pain within your soul or within their children's soul. And then there's some parents who uplift their children, who put positivity into their child. And that's fine. That's fine. But as an adult, you have control over that. As an adult, you have the ability to hear these types of videos and to understand how you got so messed up. And to know and understand, not just know, but understand that you have the power to change that. You have the power to fix that. You have the power to create a different reality, to manifest things differently, to change the contents within your soul. It's your soul. It's not anybody else's soul, which is why you shouldn't allow anybody to define what's in it, who it is, what it is. So define yourself by you. Don't define yourself by actions. Because there's a lot of people who took actions to define themselves just to end up in a place of darkness. Trust me, there's people with many degrees who are unhappy. They're just unhappy. Why? Because they tried to take the actions in order to define themselves instead of defining themselves and allowing that definition to dictate their actions. Because understand, when you define who you are and you take an action, the action is fulfilling. It's fulfilling. The process is fulfilling. You do it in love. You do it with the positive intent. This is the difference. Versus you do the action just for the end result. But you're just pushing through it, forcing it to happen. Ugh, skunk again. You're forcing it to happen because you want to define who you are. And that's fine. Like I said, you can do that. But it comes with a consequence, and that consequence is compromise. And you don't want to compromise yourself. You want to honor yourself. You want to love yourself. Your intent must be authentic. This is why it's so important to define who you are, so that the things that you do are authentic. If you're a loving person, if you have love within your being, and you want to do something that is considered helping others or doing something that looks loving, that looks positive, the intent behind it will be pure. But if you're not loving and you want to do things that we on earth define as kindness and love, meaning doing things for others or just doing something that benefit others, you can do it because you want to define yourself as being good, define yourself as being loving, define yourself as being kind. This is what people do all the time, especially in this. Well, Christians do it too. Christians actually were I don't want to say the first, because I'm sure there was something else before Christianity, but yeah, there was something before Christianity, because Jesus is the reason why Christianity exists. But anyway, there are other beliefs, and the thing is, there's New Age beliefs, there are Christian beliefs, and other religious beliefs where you do things. So, for instance, like with Christianity, if you want to get into heaven, then you have to do good things. You could be a tyrant. You can be a demon. You can be an actual demon who really doesn't care about anybody but yourself. But you want to take action because it looks like, and the Bible says, that if you do good, you will be rewarded. So you're going to do good things so that you can get the reward. But in the background, you're saying, oh, I gotta help this stupid bitch. I gotta help. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. The intent isn't pure. The intent it's malintent. That's what it is. It's malintent. It's not pure loving intent. It's unloving intent. You want to try to fool the system, but you can't fool the system. You can, on earth, you can convince anybody of anything if they have degradation within their soul. Absolutely, you can fool anybody because people don't know, and what people don't know, they fall for. But people who have love, you can't fool them because they can see through it. They can see that the intent is not pure. You have malintent, not pure intent. You dig? Same thing with, like I said, I think I posted it. So, I have my car loan. Anyway, the credit union that I have my car loan with, I got an email saying, "Happy holidays. We want to offer you. We want to give you a gift. The gift. Oh, sorry. I was looking at too many things and processing them. The gift of skipping a payment. We want to do this for you for the holidays." There's malintent involved. Malintent. And the reason why I say that is because they said, okay, your loan will still accrue, and your loan will still accrue interest. So now they're getting a month more of interest, and they're charging $25 just to skip. So they're charging $25. So they're getting that right off the top, just for extending your payment. That's not a gift if I have to pay for it and pay for more interest. How is that a gift? There's malintent. That's not coming from love. Love would have been, hey, you know what? Happy holidays. You know, your account has been in good standing all of these years, and we want to give you something. We want to allow you to skip a payment. It's the holidays. We know it can be, hard with money, difficult, with money. So we're going to allow you to skip this payment. There's no fee. Thanks for being a great customer. That is a loving gift. But that other thing is not a gift. That other thing is manipulation. There's malintent. It's not pure intent. That's the difference. So when you're dealing with anything, understand, if you're giving something just to get something in return, it's not pure intent. You have to be able to give it without expecting anything in return, and the universe will actually give you something in return, because that's the way the Creator has set it up. If you give willingly, and not to cover up any pain, you cannot mask anybody's pain. This is why people keep running into, this karma situation where they see homeless people and they're like, oh my gosh, they're suffering, I have to help them. That's instant karma right there. Instant karma. If you're doing it with the intent to alleviate suffering, it's karma involved, because the suffering that we are experiencing, that anybody's experiencing, is only due to our soul creating it. So we're experiencing the pain so that we can understand, hey, I don't like this feeling, I need to change something. So when you try to take away someone's pain, you're taking away someone's lesson. And if you take someone's lessons, you take someone's ability to correct themselves, to heal themselves. And this is not loving, which is why we experience karma so much. I just experienced it yesterday, and I was so frustrated. And I wasn't frustrated at the person. I was frustrated at myself because I did not see it. I didn't see it. And this is why, it's so important to be mindful and conscious of what we are doing. We must be a conscious being. And I was unconscious. I was doing things unconsciously, which is why I did not see the outcome. when you're conscious, you can see the outcome before you take the action. So, like I said, the reason why I have a birthday cake in my trunk is because I had suggested a cake. Someone said, they had asked me, where do I get a good cake, Bradley, blah, 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 because they know I have some pretty high standards when it comes to stuff. So they're like, hey, where can I get a good cake? You always know where to go. I said, you know what? Nothing But Cakes has a really good cake. The person who it's for loves chocolate. The chocolate is out of sight. So I said, okay, Nothing But Cakes. And they said, where is? I said, well, the only ones, I said, they're really in the valley where I live. And so the person said, okay, well, if I pay for it, can you pick it up? And I thought, oh, no problem. No problem. And so here, it wasn't my idea to get the cake. It was their idea to get the cake. But who ended up getting the cake? Me. And it wasn't supposed to happen like that. The person who wants something should be able to get it themselves. And if they can't get it themselves, then they must realize their limitations. So we were at the office, and she was like, oh, I said, I had mentioned the cake, and, because it's for today. And she said, well, here's a credit card. I was like, okay, so I did it. So my what I desired was to drive all weekend. I wanted to drive all weekend, aside from picking up that table that I picked up Saturday. All day Sunday, I wanted to drive. I wanted to wake up early. I wanted to just hit the road and just drive for Uber. That's what I wanted to do. But I remembered I had to pick up the damn cake. I was like, the cake was set for 1 o'clock. I was like, okay, well, whatever. So there was a color discrepancy. I had picked a different color than the favorite color that the person has. So I called to see if I could make the change, and then I heard on the recording that they were closed on Sunday, and I was like, oh my gosh, why would they accept an online order on a day that they're closed? Like, I can't pick up the cake today. So I had to end up waiting until 11 o'clock till the other stores open to see if they could fulfill the order that was already paid for. So that means I had to wait around. I couldn't go out and do what I wanted to do. And to me, I was just losing money, because I could have made hundreds of dollars on Sunday. But I didn't do that because I had to do something else that I obligated myself to do. For what? Because someone else didn't want to do it. If I can drive to Long Beach to pick up a table, someone can drive to the Valley to pick up a cake, if that's what they want. But I interfered. I accepted someone else's responsibility. And because I did that, I didn't look at my own desire. I fulfilled someone else's desire. And so I had to pay for that. And so I lost a lot of money. And so I was like, you know what? Because I was getting frustrated. I was like, I'm having to wait around. I can't really, drive, because who knows where I'm going to end up. When you're doing Uber, you can end up anywhere. Like, I've ended up in Santa Barbara. I've ended up in San Diego, Bakersfield. So you just don't know, And so all this stuff was going on. And I was like, I won't be doing that again. But I got my lesson. And the lesson was so clear, and I felt it so deeply. I was like, I won't be doing this again for this person. And I won't be doing anything for anybody else like that either. If someone wants something and they're completely capable of it, then they need to do it for themselves. Because I put myself out. And so I didn't have a happy experience. In order to have a happy experience, you have to do what people call selfish. People will call you selfish when you do things for yourself. Understand that. Anytime you love yourself, they call it selfish, because you're not doing for them. And the only reason why they're angry you're not doing for them is because they're not willing to do it for themselves. Most people are capable, but they're unwilling to do it for themselves. They want others to do it for them. But in order for others to fulfill their desire, they have to give up their own desire. And that's not loving, and you're never going to ever experience happiness. You may feel it now if you're pandering to people, meaning if you're looking for the compliments and you're looking for people to look at you as if you're loving, as if you're kind, as if you're sweet, or you're a doll, you're a sweetheart. If you're looking for this, then of course you're going to go out and completely ignore yourself. You're not going to honor any of your desires, and you're just going to spend your time, your energy, and your money on other people. That's all that's going to happen. And you're never going to be happy. I can tell you, people, the people who are unhappy are the people who do for others but will not do for themselves. And they have this thing in their mind, do for others. There's more joy in giving than in receiving. What? That I get it, but I don't get it. Like, I get it because that's something that we've been told. But we are here to receive. The Creator is here to receive, to give us things so that we can receive. So this whole there's more joy in giving than receiving. Darling, let me tell you, when you try to force it, it don't work. But when you don't force it, it's a beautiful thing. It's a system that just works. But when you try to force it giving, you're not ever receiving. And that which you're receiving from them isn't sustainable unless you continue to run yourself into the ground doing for them. We have to understand this. So to be happy, you have to be able to understand that you need to take care of yourself, and not just take care of yourself. You need to do things that so I had this lady last night, and she was saying, you really know who your friends are, blah blah blah. She's like, you help them, and then when you need something, they're nowhere to be found. And here's the thing, and I was listening to her, I was like, girl, you just don't know. You're telling yourself all the answers. In your complaining, you're telling yourself the answers that you need in order to have a different experience. So, I don't know if it's kept recording. So what happens is you give and give, you give and 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 you give. But you're giving for the wrong reasons. And as you're giving, you don't understand this. You don't understand it. You're giving. Oh, the church says you should give. You should give. Oh, yeah, the church says you should give. They want you to give your tithings. Pay your tithes. So, you give and 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 you give. You give all of yourself. You give when you're tired. You give when you're exhausted. You give when you don't have to give. So when you have your last $20 and somebody says they don't have gas in their car and you're like, well, I can get by with $5, and you give them $15, you're giving and you're giving and you're giving and you're giving and you're giving. But you're not loving yourself in the process. You're putting yourself out. You're putting yourself second, third, fourth, fifth, and last. This is where you're putting yourself. And all the while, right when you need something, and let me tell you, the reason why you need something is because you don't have it within yourself to generate it on your own. She said, I needed to move in October, and all my friends that I've known for years, not one of them helped me. They all had a different excuse. That's what she said. And I'm like, that's interesting. You give and you give and you give, and they gave you an excuse. Why did they give you an excuse? Because the universe thought or felt that your soul dictated that experience. The only reason she didn't love herself for all these years, she didn't love herself. She just gave and gave and gave. Gave until she was exhausted. Her funds were exhausted. And when she needed something, and understand that need only came because that's the lesson. She has created so much lack, so much scarcity in her life. She needed someone, but she didn't need anybody. Because if you really think about it, all those times she gave money, all those times she gave, she had. Look, if you come into money, you came into money. If someone else asks you for that money, you're giving them your money. You're giving them what your soul said you're worthy of. Their soul isn't worthy of it. Their soul isn't worthy of it because they don't have abundance within their soul. So they have to take someone else's abundance. Understand that. This is why she had to experience the lack. Because she has created so much lack in her life. She said, I have to hide. She goes, it's sad when you have to hide things. You can't buy yourself nice things. She said she bought herself a watch, but she has to hide her watch around her friends because they start asking for money. And I was like, that's no way to live. That's no way to live. People say, don't tell anybody your dreams. Don't tell anybody your goals. You never hide. This is not the recreation of that Adam and Eve story, where you start hiding yourself because you feel ashamed of having. She says she feels guilty because she has and other people don't. Because some people are struggling. No, you don't feel bad because you have. Never feel bad because of the abundance you have. Never feel guilty because you have and others don't. Guilt is a sin. Don't feel guilty. When you feel guilty, you feel bad. Why would you make yourself feel bad on purpose? If God put us here to be happy and to have joy and pleasures, why would you put all of this ugliness into your being? We have to ask. You're not going to be happy that way. So you have to you have to be grateful for the things that you have, and you have to be able to hold your head up high when you have it. Don't hide it. If you have, here's the thing. Some people say, I was looking at these things, this video actually came up about this one person who won the lottery and they wish they never won it. There was nothing wrong with winning millions of dollars. They say hide it, don't tell people that you won. People can know I won millions of dollars. It doesn't mean they're going to get any of it, because I understand the process. I understand that I was awarded this money to have the experiences that I want to have, but I can't be stupid. I can't be dumb. I can't be naive. I cannot be aware. I can't be unconscious while I have this money. I must be aware. I must be conscious. I have to be. So I have to, the rules of the universe still apply whether I have millions of dollars or not. So if I'm getting the salary that I'm getting now, I have to look at homeless people and understand them the same as if I had millions of dollars. It has to be the same. I have to maintain who I am. That's why you define who you are. So when anything outside of you changes, you never change. You hold and maintain your integrity. You hold and maintain love. You hold and maintain truth no matter what. It doesn't matter if someone is dying of cancer. Understand that cancer was generated by them, not you. So who are you to come in and fix that? And some people, I understand you guys are like, well, wow, you're a heartless son of a bitch. And that's fine. That's your judgment. But understand, in your judgment, in any condemnation is unloving, is a lack of love. So this is why I don't care what people say about me. You can say whatever you want to say about me. There are some people I will help. But like I said, you have to understand someone's intent. Understand someone's intent. Are they afraid? Do they get the lesson? You have to know this. Before you start stepping in, understand this. If God is willing to let his children go through their creation in pain, who the hell are you to come in and use your funds or try to fix somebody else or cut off someone else's pain or cut off someone else's suffering, stop someone else's pain, stop someone else's suffering? Who are you to do that when the Creator won't even do that? The only time the Creator will come in and take something away is if you understand it. This is why I say you have to understand from God's perspective and understand who the Creator is. Because if you don't, you will continue to make decisions that will continue to have you living in pain and suffering. And you will continue to live in a state of unhappiness. So, if you want to be happy, you better learn the rules and the regulations of the universe. You have to define who you want to become. You have to define that. So you can't be this person who just wants to take things. Some people just want. They just want things. And you can't be that person. You can't be the person who always takes from people. I want to take this. I want to take this. I want to take this. And understand, taking is different than receiving. When someone offers you something, you receive it. But when you take it, You're looking for opportunities to get things. And a lot of people do things so that they're like, what can I do so I can take this? What can I do so I can take that? What can I do so I can get this? What can I do? Understand they're only doing it to get something, which is the same thing as just taking something. But when you become a person of love, when you become a person of truth, when you define who you are, the love, everything falls into place. Because the soul is what is manifesting that which comes to you. When you define your soul, because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about defining the soul so that you have the power in order to manifest things. When you don't have the power to manifest things, you have to force it with your mind. This is why the mind, you get mental breakdowns, because people are taxing the mind. The mind is not designed to create like this on its own 24/7. This is why people get stressed out and worried, because they're not living from their soul, they're living from their mind. You have to allow the soul to express itself. And the thing is, once the soul expresses itself and it experiences itself, it can then determine if it wants to continue to be that or be something else. This is why it's so important to define who you are. Define who you are on a soul level. Because if not, you're going to continue living through your mind, by your mind. That's it. That's what you're governed by. And the thing is, this is why people who live by the mind, they don't learn their lesson. Because they're not feeling about it. They're just doing things and having an experience, but they're not feeling as they're doing it. There's no feeling as they're making the decision. They're just mentally making the decision. There's nothing. See, we feel things. That's the compass and the barometer. We feel things so that we know if we should move in this direction or not. That's why we feel things, to let us know on a soul level, do I go this way? Do I go that way? So when you only think about taking something from someone, there's no emotion, there's no feeling involved. But when your soul is involved, you're like, wow, the thought of taking something from someone and feeling how the other person is going to feel if you do that, then you're like, whoa, I can't do that. I can't cause that pain in someone else. This is why the soul must be involved at all times. But people amass a lot of things, a great wealth, success, but their soul isn't involved. And this is why they end up in the hells, and they're like, why the hell am I here? Where am I? When they die, they don't know where the hell they are, and they really don't know why they are where they are. And this is important, because the things that I talk about, it's not just about life here. It's about life in the spirit world. It's about the afterlife. See, here we can control things. In the spirit world, you have no control. You are completely subjected by your soul condition. Completely subjected by your soul condition. Here, you are subjected to your soul condition, but you can use your free will, you can use your intent and all the things that the Creator has put here for you to have a different experience than that which dwells within your soul. You can have degradation within your soul, but you can have a guitar because that's your thing. But in the spirit world, you can't even manifest a guitar. You can't. And things manifest differently in the spirit world. They just appear. So some people who love music can't even generate the thing to give them the thing that they love doing. This is why it's so important. See, the people on the planet are blind. They are blind. They have absolutely no idea what's coming. They actually have no idea what's happening right now. That's going to determine what's coming. They are just blind. This is an aspect of yourself. And learn about, watch these videos of these spirits that I have on my channel. And if you don't know, if you want to know where they are, just let me know. I'll put the link somewhere and you can find some. But it's so important to understand and hear. Just hear them. Hear their stories. It was like, this is the life that I lived on earth. This is where I am in the spirit world. You start to put them together and like, okay, this person lived this kind of life. This is where they end up. This person lived this kind of life. This is where they end up. This is how you need to look at life. Because this is life. This is life experience. And the thing is, this is what you're going to experience if you're on the same path as those who have experienced life in these areas in the spirit world that aren't pleasant. And then there's celestial beings that tell you all about how life is in the celestial spheres, in the celestial dimensions. They say, hey, look, this is what we can do. These are the powers that we have. These are the abilities that we have. But this is what you have to do to get there. It's about learning beyond me. Oh gosh, I hope you learn beyond me. I hope you never stay here, because there's so much that I don't know. But there's so much that I do know that other people don't know. You see? You understand? You get it? Like, the learning process is lifelong. It doesn't stop. There's always more to learn. There's always more to be had. Always. And it's so important to understand this, like truly understand this, because if you truly understand this, what happens is you start making better decisions. You start making decisions that are loving. You start making decisions that are of great benefit to you and others. This is the whole point, to live in love, to live from a place of love. But in order to do that, you have to come from a place of understanding. You have to live your life with the power and don't try to force it. You must be a conscious creator. We have to be a conscious creator because we have to define what our intent is. And if you want to define what your intent is, you're going to have to define who you are. This is how you do that. Define who you are, and your intent is automatic. Because that's the power of the soul. You don't have to force something into place because it's not there. Understand that. If you need to force something into place, it's because it's not there already. If you have to force something, it's because it's not there already. The power is in the soul. This is why the love and the understanding must be in the soul. Truth must be in your soul. This must be the foundation that you build upon. You must become your beingness. Becoming who you are is something that is a lifelong process. It's infinite. But we try to get to this finite place, but it's infinite. On this planet, I'm not going to say it's finite, but there are a lot of limitations. But your existence and what you're going to learn, what you're going to experience, those things are infinite. You don't know what those things are. There's always going to be something new. If you learn 1 million things, there's always going to be 1,000,001. And when you learn 1,000,001, there's going to be 1,000,002. And then 1,000,003. The same thing with the dimensions. When Adam and Eve were created, it was just what we today know as the sixth dimension. The 5 and the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1, the first dimension, those were not created yet. Those things weren't created until they created it. Same thing with with Jesus. Jesus is the one who discovered the 7th dimension and the 8th dimension and higher and higher and higher. All these different spirits who live in these different celestial areas or in the hells, those things weren't there until they created it. So we have to understand that what we experience right now in the moment is what it is. But there's so much more, and that there's so much you don't know that is out there to be known. There's things out there that you don't know that other spirits know, that other people know on this planet. But as you know it, then you learn something more that you didn't know. There's always something out there. So, being happy isn't this thing that you achieve and you're done. Being happy is a lifelong process. You are going to continue to be happy because there's so many things that the Creator has provided, and the way the Creator has set things up, you're going to define what those things are. You're going to define what those things are for yourself. What makes you happy? Hey, you know what? Picking flowers may not make you happy, but for some, it's everything. Making bouquets, it's everything. Creating, like my coworker creates, paper flowers and balloons and all these different floral arrangements, like that makes her happy. That doesn't make everybody else happy. I tried doing that. That shit don't look right. Because it's not something, I don't have a pure intent to do it. I'm sure if I wanted to learn and wanted to have an understanding as to how to arrange things and how to create things, I could do it. And it would make me happy. But I would have to have the pure intent. There's always going to be a new thought, people. Always going to be a new thought. There's always going to be a new idea. And these things are the things that make you happy. So you're never going to get to the end place because there is no end place. You know, and when you define who you are, who you want to become, and you define what that is and why, all the hows and the whens just fall into place. Because that's the universe bringing your manifestation. Because here's what happens. The universe brings the manifestations to match who you are. They say, oh, this is who you are. You're going to like this. And you're going to like this. Oh, and you're this too. You're going to love this. Oh, I'm bringing you this. You don't see it coming, but you're going to get it. Seriously. When you have abundance, when you have love, when you have gratefulness within your being, oh, the universe will throw all kinds of stuff to you. You're like, whoa, look what I got. Whoa, I didn't see that one coming. Whoa, wow. Seriously. So when you define who you are and what you want to do and why you want to do it, because that's defining who you are. Defining what you want to do and why you want to do it, the universe is like, don't worry about the how and don't worry about the when. We're taking care of all of that for you, sir. Mr. Bradley, we are taking care of all that. You do not have to worry about that. That is what God promises you. Man will tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that. This is how you do it, and this is when you got to do it in order to get what you want. That's how man operates. God does not operate like that. This is why you have to have faith in the Creator, faith in the Creator's ability, faith in the design of the Creator's universe. It's already done. You have to have faith in the perfect creation that the Creator has created. If you don't have faith in that, then you have to rely on man. And I just said, man will tell you how to do it and when to do it in order to get it. God says, don't worry about it. I'm taking care of it. Because you have already defined in you who you are and what you are. And why you want to do the things you want to do. So let me give you this and let me give you that so that you can experience what you have defined yourself to be. That's how it works. And the thing is, like, all of this stuff, you know, some people, the reason why people are unhappy is because they're motivated by fear. You cannot be motivated by fear. You have to be motivated by faith. You have to have a feeling of assuredness that this is what's going to happen. That's what faith is. You're assured, you feel assured that everything is going to be okay. If you give let's say you give a family member to go pay your power bill, your light bill, and you know that they're going to do it, you are assured. You have faith that that the bill is going to be paid. You have faith that your lights are going to be on. That's what it's about. Believing that in the process, it's already done. There are people that you can't trust, you cannot put faith in. But there are some things there are some people who you can put faith in. And I'm just talking just as an example, but my thing is you always put faith in the Creator. That's my point. If you put yourself in the Creator, then you'll always be okay. There's never a time when you will be disappointed if you have faith in the Creator. Now, you can say you have faith, but have doubt, and then you'll experience the doubt, and then tell yourself, well, I had faith, but what came didn't come. It's because you didn't have faith. You told yourself you had faith, but you did not have faith in your soul, in your being. You did not believe it in your soul. You did not believe it in your being. There was a doubt within you somewhere. There was fear somewhere that it was not going to happen, which is why it did not happen. But when it comes to the Creator, you have faith, and it will happen. You don't believe, you have fear. It's that simple. It's really that simple. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for now. But if you want to be happy, you have to give up. I'll just say this: you have to give up all the other things that create fear in your life. The thing is, we as human beings, we rely on family, we rely on friends. I can tell you this: if you rely upon something that is not the Creator. Now, I'm not saying just accepting. We can accept things that people give us. But when you rely on it, in order to make you happy, or in order to bring you a result, and it's not the creator. And when I say rely, that's the only way you know it's going to come. That's the thing that will always bring you disappointment. Because you have to have faith in you, in your ability, and you have to have faith in the creator. You have to have faith in your ability, and you have to have faith in the creator. You have to have faith in your ability, and you have to have faith in the creator. If you have faith in your ability, have faith in your ability to have faith. Know that you can have faith in you doing whatever it is that you want to do. And also have faith that the creator will bring to you all the things that you desire. That can happen. People are given things left and right. Left and right, people are given things. They're like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Wow. But understand where it comes from. It comes from you. And it comes from the creator. It's a collaboration. And we have to be in on this collaboration. We have to understand the collaboration. We are in collaboration with the creator. When you're not in collaboration with the creator, you have to force it. The creator only works with the power of the soul. It does not work with the power of the mind. This is why when people pray with words, they pray with their mind. It doesn't happen. That is not a collaboration. Your communication skills must be from the soul. Those must be very strong. You got to learn how to talk, people. You got to learn how to talk. You have to learn how to communicate with your soul. That is a language that the creator understands. The creator does not understand your words. The creator only hears the soul. You can say, help me, help me, help me with your mouth. But then there's that time you're like, oh, please, God, help me. Please get me out of this. There's a feeling that goes out. And before you know it, something happens and everything is taken care of. That's how it works. It must be a feeling. You got to learn the language of the soul. And it's just feeling. You have to communicate with your feelings. Creator, God, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. God doesn't care what you call it. But the creator knows who you're talking to. I understand. I hear you. I feel your pain. I understand your suffering. I can bring you this. That's what happens. And then the universe is instructed to bring you whatever it is that you need in order to get you by, in order to get you through. That's how it works. But you have to give up relying upon family. You have to give up relying upon friends. You have to stop seeking their approval. You can't seek it. You have to have your own approval. Everything must come from you. It can't come from outside of you. I can't stress this enough. It cannot. I have family. I have people who, I guess you can call friends, people that I know. I'll just say people that I know. I don't think I have any friends. I may have some, but you never know. And the thing is, because people are in pain, you never know. People cannot always deliver what you need them to deliver. People in your life, who are in your physical life, people who are on social media, people are in their own place dealing with their own stuff, and they're not always going to be able to deliver for you. They're not going to be able to deliver these things that you need, that you want, and you don't have any right to pressure them into doing it. This is why you should have faith in yourself, confidence in yourself, be proud of yourself, and have and have the faith in the creator's ability to help you through it, to help you make it manifest. You're asking other people for things and they may not be able to do it. You ask the creator for something, you'll get it. The creator always finds a way. Why? Because the creator has the entire universe to not conspire, but to bring you anything. The creator, everything in this universe is owned by the creator. So of course the creator can move things around, and that thing, that saying, God uses his people to do his will. Absolutely. The creator can create a situation where a person needs to fly from China. You run into this person has exactly what you need. It just works that way. It works that way. You can even win a trip. You didn't know someone maybe could have entered your name. You didn't even know it. I'm going to enter this person's name. They haven't been out of the country. And then you're a winner and you get this 7-day, 7-night cruise trip somewhere. You just never know. This is why you have to be open to it. Feel that. I don't know if you can feel what I just said, but if you can feel it, then it's like, wow, all of these different possibilities that I never thought about can happen. Yes, all the possibilities that you have never thought about can happen. And that is the greatest thing, the greatest feeling that you can have, is that there's so much that can be had or experienced that you're not even aware of. This is why people say, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. Of course not. There's a lot of things you don't see coming, because the creator is the one that sees all things, not you. All right, let me get out of here. You guys have a wonderful Monday. If you have any more questions to the person who asked me about this video, more specific, I can get into that. But I know I bounced around a lot, but happiness is this thing that is, it's defined by you, but it's not defined by you. But yet you define it. It's really interesting because it's a collaboration with you and the creator. You know, my happiness is a collaboration between myself and the creator, between what the New Age call the universe and them. It's a collaboration. That's all it is. It's a collaboration. But if you don't want to collaborate and you want to do everything on your own, then do it on your own. But understand, if you're doing it on your own and you have limited resources, yeah, I think you can imagine the result of that. All right, everybody, have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye now.